Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And for the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonja Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. And that's just a sampling. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. For laptops, mobile phones, and tablets, download the Roku app. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
This show is brought to you by BetUS.com. 125% off your first 3 deposits, 30 years experience, secure site, wagering for all sports, including during the games and futures. SeatGeek provides you the best prices on sports and music events, game tickets, and concerts. Use NSS promo code to get $20 off your first ticket. Keep using the NSS promo code when purchasing tickets for great deals in the future. In Fanatics at nessp.info for your favorite teams, sportswear. Click on the link, and while you're there, check out our national streaming sports merchandise. The Big Football Show, every Sunday at 8 a.m. on Roku at 4 p.m. Are you all ready for this? Let's get a quick NFL news update with producer Linda.
Now it's time for NFL news on the Big Football Show. Hi, everyone. Baltimore 35-34 in a playoff atmosphere in Baltimore and Cincinnati go back and forth, and it came down to a missed 2-point conversion by Cincinnati on the last play. Joe Burrows and Lamar Jackson both threw 4 TDs apiece. Christian McCaffrey will be playing this week versus Tampa Bay. Dak Prescott will be out. CeeDee Lamb will be on the field. 9 NFL teams have only 2 wins this year. Patriots, Raiders, Browns, Giants, Saints, Panthers, Miami, and Tennessee are all 2-6. 2 of the top draft picks will take the field this weekend. Caleb Williams and Drake May, the number 1 and number 3 draft choices. Caleb Williams came out on the short end as the Commanders win on the Hail Mary pass by the number 2 draft pick, Jaden Daniels. The Giants square off against the Panthers this morning in Germany. Both are 2-7 and looking for their 3rd win. Saquon Barkley was drug tested after the performance in the last game that included a backwards hurdle. That's your news.
And a quick injury report for all of you out there before we start. Thank God it's shorter. The Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen is out. Darius Slayton for the Giants is out. Brian Robinson for the Commanders is out. Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence is unlikely to start. Bucks wide receiver, of course, Mike Evans is still out. New Orleans wide receivers Chris Olave and Cedric Wilson are both out. Buffalo wide receiver Keon Coleman is out. The Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman is out. Dallas, Dak Prescott might be out for the year. He's looking at getting surgery, depending on what he may end up with being out for this season. Thanks for the shorter list. I appreciate that. Good morning to Keith Angle, our Patriots analyst and our college sports expert. So good morning, Keith. How you doing today?
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Keith.
Yes, and as was mentioned in the news, you've got the number 3 draft pick, Drake May, going up. Well, taking the field, not going up against, but taking the field with Caleb Williams, and the Bears are having a little problem protecting him. Keith, what are your thoughts on that game?
Listen, the Patriots have played competitive football for the most part this year, and May has, I think, added some dimension to that offense that some people in this show have mentioned that he probably would, even though he didn't want to play yet. I think the Patriots have a very good chance of covering this game and maybe shock is the right word against the Bears and get a win.
I think there's definitely a possibility there, depending how well Drake May can move the team up and down that field, and we know he can move, he can run as well as throw the ball. So it'll be interesting if you just had that one receiver, Keith. That one receiver I think the Patriots are like one receiver away of being close to 500 this year, honestly.
Well, that would help, but both sides of the line are just awful still. The offensive line, the protection is not there, and defensive line, there's no pressure on the quarterback to speak of as a rule. So we got some things to address yet, but again, there's some reason for optimism that we may, get to the playoffs again in my lifetime.
Yes. So, Keith, we're going to go over your picks real quick. We got a lot to talk about in college, so I figured I'd knock this out of the way, and everybody could either be astonished by your picking ability or just stay at home and just kind of laugh.
I'm either 3-0 or 0-3, so it's
right.
Always
there's no middle at all. So, what you got, Keith?
I have the Cardinals +1 over the Jets. I have the Texans +3.5 over the Lions. And the Rams -1 over the Dolphins.
Are you worried about that pick with the Texans? I know they're coming. They got I think Derek Coleman, their number 1 receiver, is supposed to be playing today, from what I understand. But that Lions offense and defense is unbelievable.
They're playing well. To me, this is more the 3.5 points at home. If this was 2.5, I probably would have not taken Houston, but I'll take 3.5 and hope for a field goal game if they do lose this game. So,
all right, Keith's right.
It's a risky pick. The Texans are not playing as crisp a football as they have last year, especially with Nico Collins has been out.
He may be coming back though, Keith.
Yeah, that's funny. I hadn't heard that, and while we were talking, I was looking at one of my fantasy teams that I have to get him in the lineup if he is going to play, because his replacement is not very good on my team, I can tell you. So that'd be good news. That would be very good news for Stroud and this offense.
No
still
doubt.
A good football team, though. It's a good defensive team. I think this team will still be dangerous as we get towards the end of the season. That's why I like him at home today a little bit.
All right. As we turn to college, there were a lot of upsets. And I was talking to James before the show, and I'm saying this reminds me of the NFL when you have a lot of 9 and 8 teams. They either one could be either one. It depends on what's going on, who gets hot, who is not. I mean, it's pretty much, to me, it's that's what it reminds me of. You got a couple teams that to me are cream of the top, but for the most part, you got a lot of parity right now in college.
I would say that's probably correct. Again, and even I would go all the way to the top that anybody could beat anybody on any given Saturday, because we already saw Ohio State lose, yes, to the top team, but Indiana's going to go in there to Ohio State and undefeated in 2 weeks, and we're going to see what happens there. Some of the things that happened yesterday. Georgia, again, is one of the most inconsistent teams in the top 10. They were just ugly. It was ugly yesterday, that game they played. LSU, I liked yesterday, as I think I said Friday, and it was not pretty against Bama, but it's going to be a big shakeup this week. 2 of the top 4 lose. My Miami team is just I've seen this movie too many times, man, and they lose a game they shouldn't lose, and then they'll go get blown out somewhere in a conference championship. We'll see. I see big shakeups this week in the college football poll.
Well, I mean, if you look at Texas, it looks like Quinn Ewers has gotten healthier, right? He's throwing like he did before, 333 yards, 5 touchdowns, nice running game that they have there, 2 touchdowns by both running backs. But this is what I think Texas was waiting for. And I think if he's healthy, that's going to be one of your top teams.
You know, we were talking about parity before, and I think a team that's laying in the weeds, they've only had one bad game, and that was against Georgia. They can't play worse than they played against Georgia. They almost just check a shuffleboard. If he did, I was supposed to be his partner. He didn't call me. What was I going to say? See, Jack distracted me. He's not even here, for crying out loud. Texas, I think Texas is still – one of the top 3 contenders. They'll be number 3 in the poll this week for sure. They had a bad game against Georgia, and I think it was just that. Everybody's going to have that week, and you're right. Texas is very, very good. Florida's very bad. I wonder if they really regret. They gave Billy Napier a big vote of confidence that he'll be the coach next year, and then he goes out and promptly gets one of the worst defeats that Florida's had in a while. So probably a bad move there by the administration.
And by the way, Jack is celebrating his 93rd birthday. Happy birthday!
Happy 93rd birthday!
Shuffle away.
Hey, wait a minute! Isn't this the 6th year? It feels like the 6th year we celebrated Jack's 93rd birthday.
I think so, but I'll tell you right now, he looks good for 93, don't he? I'll give him that.
Yes. I look good for 93, right?
You guys are wild.
Yes. So Georgia Tech does get by Miami. The quarterbacks, they had 2 quarterbacks playing. I don't know if one got hurt or not, a touchdown apiece. Really, Jamal Hayes, he ran really well. Of course, Ward had his numbers, 3 touchdowns, like what it was, almost 400 yards passing, 348 yards passing. Got a strip sack of him at the end of the game that really put it away.
It did. Miami was really struggled this whole game again. And I've said for weeks, this was a team, probably 6 weeks, this is a team just searching for a loss. And they finally found it, because you're not going to bail yourself out week after week after week. Georgia Tech had a great game plan, partly to keep Miami's offense off the field, which I think they did a great job. And the quarterbacks, it was interesting. They shuffled them in all day, in and out all day. The 2 quarterbacks, they both played, made their share of big plays. And Miami could not get off the field on 3rd down at all, and it killed them all day. Cam Ward did what he could do, but this team, I think this team's going to take a big fall in the rankings, down to maybe as far as 10 this week.
Keith, speaking of big falls, does Cam Ward take a big hit with that strip sack at the end for his Heisman chances?
It won't help for sure. I think it's a 3-guy race between him and Giante and Travis Hunter, myself, right now. And with Colorado playing well, that really helps Travis Hunter's resume. So, I think it hurts him for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would a great play by a defender hurt the quarterback? I mean, it wasn't like
you can't lose the football. Like it's a great play, but you still lost the football.
Mac, because people are going to look at, they're not going to look at with the yards. They're going to look at your chance to come back and win that game at the time in 2 minutes left. That's how they vote.
Well, if they do look at it that way, they're idiots, because that was a
There's
great
also always, whether it's a polls or a Heisman, there's going to be a recency bias as well. So the later these things happen, the more they affect you. So
all right,
I'm not saying it'll cost them the Heisman. I do think it'll come into play.
Really?
For some people. Yeah.
then, like I said, I don't understand that. Clemson beats Virginia Tech 24-14. Cade Klubnik, 211 yards and 3 touchdowns. Colin, I'm trying to say this right. Colin Schlee, am I saying it right? Colin Schlee, the quarterback for the second quarterback for Virginia Tech.
I don't have his name in front of me, so let me.
Well, he had 73 yards and a touchdown anyway. So, listen, Clemson, Virginia Tech is a decent team. Clemson did what they're supposed to do. They beat Virginia Tech.
And Clemson keeps themselves alive for the playoff because there's now 3 teams in the ACC tied at the top with 1 loss. And there's a very good chance they were only going to get 1 team in this playoff. It's looking like and SMU is playing some great football. They're off yesterday, but they may be the best team in this conference.
Ole Miss, that game. When I watched that game, I'm telling you, I don't like Carson Beck. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I really don't. 186 yards, 1 interception. I mean, Ole Miss just they had 3 sacks on him. Interception. I mean, I just don't like Carson Beck. I don't like him.
Well, Carson Beck's been a part of the problem for Georgia all year as far as their inconsistency, because he's been far less consistent than he's been in either of the last couple years that he's played. And he's been responsible for putting them in holes. And yesterday put them in a hole, or helped put them in a hole that they couldn't get out of. And listen, give some credit to Ole Miss's defense. That's been their Achilles heel for a long time. They played a really good game yesterday.
Yeah,
a lot of sacks. They lead the nation in sacks. And Lane Kiffin, who was trending towards James Franklin territory down south, finally gets a signature win against Georgia or Alabama or a top 5 and 10 team in general. So huge win for Mississippi. Also keeps them alive for the playoff conversation as well. They would have been out with a loss here. And Georgia hurts themselves. They're still alive, but they've hurt themselves. They may need to win the SEC championship to get in now.
Yeah, Indiana gets by Michigan, and it was a very tight game all the way to the end. Curtis Bork with 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, interceptions. Michigan only really got 1 touchdown. The Indiana defense played well too, but Michigan is not a powerhouse, and they stayed right with Indiana.
I think, this game. I think this is still a big win for Indiana. As big as they've been winning, I know they didn't win against a mediocre Michigan team, but I heard a great term yesterday morning on game day that this was Indiana's first helmet game where they played somebody that they would normally lose to. There were 60. They're like 60 and 10 on the wrong side, by the way, like forever against Michigan. And to win this game, just come out a victor in this game is, I think, fine for Indiana. That's all they need to do now is win. They don't need style points. They just need to win. And they continue to surprise people 10-0. One of the best stories. Them and BYU and SMU, I think, too. The 3 surprise stories in the country.
Did you want to say anything, James?
Indiana is known for basketball mostly. Back in the day, now they're playing great football. That's just a nice change of pace there. I like that.
Funny. 60 losses against Michigan. Lee Corso said he thought he was responsible for about 30 of them. He wasn't there that long, but he felt like he was there for 30 of them.
So Keith is still online with Notre Dame, but there's always the opposite. Keith's prediction on Colorado has just been, I don't know. There's nothing there. Nothing left. I mean, Colorado wins again as they beat Texas Tech. Sanders throws for 291 yards, a touchdown, runs for a touchdown. Defense sacks Texas quarterback, I don't know, 7 times. I mean, it was it was a good win.
One thing I am not afraid to do is admit when I'm wrong, and I've been wrong here because Colorado, with 2 games left or 3 games left, if looking at the conference championships, they control their own destiny. They control their own destiny getting the playoff. If they win out, they're in. And Dan's done a great job there. Hunter's been tremendous. His son has been tremendous, and the parts of the team that there's still some issues there, but they're not as bad as they were. And when Dan was at Jackson State, I really thought he was a good coach. I thought this was going to be a circus when he went there. I thought it was all just for show and hype, and Kind of felt the same when he jumped to Colorado. I thought it was a strange move, but Deion can coach. Deion can motivate people. And I think he needed to get it. I guess he needed to get his legs under him last year. And he learned from some mistakes. And this team is playing really good football. And this is one I had really wrong because I said 5-7 was their ceiling, if I remember right. So not one win. I'm sure we're down to one win today, Mac. You keep lowering my prediction.
And also, let's not undersell the move of hiring Warren Sapp. That defensive line is a lot better than what it was.
And that's one of the big areas of improvement, James. That's a great call. And he was derided for hiring Warren Sapp before the season, and that's been turned out to be a great move for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Someone from the fans throws water on their players. Deion has a hissy fit, which he deserved to do. I mean, the fans are really getting really ruckus in college, Keith. And I don't know, they got to start doing something. I mean, you can't just start throwing trash and throwing water at people. And I mean, it happens every week now.
Well, we saw it a few weeks ago in the Georgia-Texas game, actually, and Kirby Smart said, we can't set this kind of precedent where if you just act out, we're going to give you the call that you want because fans are going to do it all the time. It's happening in a lot of sports. College football is a bit under a microscope right now because, again, it's happened more recently, but all fans at all these games, I mean, they seem to feel they buy their way into the game, that they have the right to do anything they want. Talked about it the other night. I can throw food at people. I can spit at people. I can throw racial epithets at people. You don't have the right to do whatever you want to do just because you paid to get in that game. Same thing with the Yankees in the World Series. The Yankee fans, wrestling with Mookie Betts. We've got to get this under control. And to me, it's a societal thing, and it's going to be very hard to do. Because we treat people the same way, in the street as we do at the ball games. That's the problem.
But Keith, I mean, in the pros or security, you're going to get in trouble. I mean, whether you get suspended or whether you get fined or whether you get taken to jail, they're going to do it. I don't see that happen in college. I don't see that happen.
There's plenty of security there, but what they're doing with these violators, I don't know because we don't hear about it. It's not publicized, I would hope. I mean, students, I do know of cases which I cannot dive into right now, of course, because I'm not going to be able to remember. But I know there's been cases of students who have not been allowed to go to games anymore for the way they've acted. I mean, just storming the fields and the courts in basketball is dangerous.
I agree.
Tearing down goalposts is dangerous, right? We all get a laugh when Vandy beats Bama and they take the goalpost down, which took them like an hour. So you can tell they haven't torn down many goalposts. But then they paraded down through downtown. I mean, people are going to get hurt.
It just happened again last night.
Keith, last night, it happened at the LSU-Alabama game, and they threw a whole bunch of bottles on. And what the commentator said is that the Texas game, I think Texas got fined. So the school got fined. So maybe they're going to fine LSU for that.
I don't know what you do. You find that maybe it's not fines because what do the fans care? Fans don't care. They don't care. Penalize the team right then and there. Unsportsmanlike conduct and make it a 25-yard penalty. Fans will stop doing it eventually if you hurt their team and their chances. So it's unfair to those players. I get it, but
Alabama, Keith, they do not like Jalen Monroe at all. I mean, I think they were praying that he would make it to the game because he did the same thing basically yesterday he did to him last year. But he run for 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, to almost 200 yards. I mean, he was a one-man wrecking crew against LSU yesterday. I'm happy Coach Redface lost. I always will be. So, but anyway.
I did think LSU would win this game at home. I thought this was their time, similar to Ole Miss. This was similar to Ole Miss for me. But it went exactly the opposite way, and it just kept getting out of control. And they were their own worst enemy, and I think James might have touched on this Friday when we were talking about this game. They turned the ball over at least twice, maybe 3 times with a chance to make the game a 1-score game, and they just kept shooting themselves in their foot. Plus, as you said, Milroe was just eating them alive.
Such a bad interception in the red zone, man. That's great defensive play by the defensive back. He schemed as if he was going to follow that wide receiver and just got him right there. But man, Reed for Texas A&M set the blueprint. They can't stop running quarterbacks, and Milroe seems to be the best in the SEC right now.
He was untouched. Every time I looked at him, it looked like he was untouched.
Oh,
And he's fast. He's
Yes.
fast.
yeah.
So I want to get to the.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. I want to get to the BYU Utah game. I got a couple thoughts on this. Now, first, BYU had a terrible scheme. They were moving in two double tight ends, bringing in 3 running backs. They had to call timeouts. I mean, it looked like they were going to lose this game. Utah's defense played well in the beginning, and despite that, BYU still beat them, Keith. And I want you to make a comment too on their coach. At the end, he's crying like a big baby. The officials robbed us. Our kids work hard. Well, guess what? So do the kids at other college teams. They work really hard too, dude. Get a grip. You screwed the game up and you lost. You had a chance to win that multiple times.
So I'm confused by the way you presented this. You're talking about Whittingham, the Utah coach, or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You started out talking about BYU. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, BYU was doing crazy shit. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to get on Kyle Whittingham. He's one of the best, most underrated coaches in the country. He's done tremendous work out there at Utah. This is, by the way, and this is one of the rivalries that people don't understand. I don't think we're even allowed to call it the Holy War anymore, but that's what this has been, the Holy War, and it's a league game now, and it's an important game for these two teams, and obviously these two coaches. He feels he got screwed at the end. We know how I feel about that. You don't put yourself in a position to get beat by referees. They were bad. We've seen a lot of it week in and week out. And I think you get caught up in the emotion. Men can cry now and again. I've cried now and again as well myself, and it happens. And I don't think I'm going to get at a guy for crying at the end of the game. He was upset and emotional. And by the way, he is one of the best coaches in the country for sure. It's a tough loss. He's had a tough year. This was a team that was projected to win the Big 12, and they're barely in the middle of the pack, if that. They're 4-5 overall, I think, and been a tough year for Kyle Whittingham. But he'll get Cam Rising back for his 8th year next year, maybe. We'll see how they do.
It could happen. Virginia Tech beats Virginia. Sorry, Keith. 24 Pitt 19. A lot of running going on with Virginia Tech. The running backs are really the stars for the show. The Pitt quarterback, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Pittsburgh effectively takes themselves out of the race probably for the ACC with this game. They were undefeated till last week when SMU just pulverized them as well. Virginia Tech's been up and down, but they've shown the ability to rise to an occasion. This is a well-coached team, and they may be a team on the rise in the ACC. And Pittsburgh, the good feelings are all going to go away. The bottom seems to be falling out here after a nice 6-0 start.
Yeah. Real quick, Army does go to 9-0, Keith. First time since 1996 or something like that.
That might be further back than that. They're ranked highest they've been in 65 years. I know that. Another nice win. This is a good win on the road. North Texas is a good football team. Look, it's not the SEC, so don't anybody get on me. I'm not talking about, them beating Alabama here, but North Texas is a good football program. Army keeps winning, keeps doing exactly what they've done all year, play good defense, keep the ball away from the other team. Army's still alive. Army, it looks like they're going to play for I would be shocked if they didn't play in the AAC championship game, and they keep themselves alive for a playoff berth. They need Boise State to stumble somewhere because they've got to be ranked ahead of Boise State to get that bid.
And don't they play Notre Dame?
They have to play Notre Dame, I believe, next week. I think it's next week. So they got Notre Dame, which probably, if they play decently, right, it won't hurt them a whole lot. Because they could still win if they lose to Notre Dame, win the AAC championship, and Boise State loses the Mountain West championship, there's still a chance Army could move ahead of them in the poll. So a good showing against Notre Dame probably wouldn't hurt them in a loss that much as far as their playoff chances. They're still
any chance of a win against Notre Dame?
No. Notre Dame's playing really good football. We had the same conversation, or not, we didn't, but I've had the same conversation a few weeks ago when Navy played them, and Navy's playing really good football as well, and Notre Dame just dismantled them. Army might be able to keep it a little closer, but I do not think they can win this game. And look, anything can happen, but I do not think they can win this game.
Yes. Keith, thanks for stopping in. I'll let you get over to your show. Keith Angle, TGI Sports. Keith, have a great day, my friend.
Enjoy the games, guys.
All right, there you go, Keith Angle. James, I love having Keith on because he knows so much about college football. But he's easy to irritate too. You can get him going. That's what I like about Keith the most. The entertainment value is pretty good there. So we're going to start going through our picks here, our top 3 picks for each game. Keith, as he said, he's 15-10-2. He picked the Cardinals +1 at the Jets, Houston +3.5 versus Detroit, and the Rams -1 versus Miami. Linda, she's 14-11-2, picks Detroit -3.5 at Houston, going the opposite of Keith. Atlanta -3.5 at New Orleans. Washington, let me see who's playing at Washington real quick. Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
You got Pittsburgh +3 at Washington, babe?
I got Washington.
Okay, so she has Washington -3 versus Pittsburgh. Interesting. Okay, she's riding with Washington. Yeah, all right, cool. James, you are tied with Linda for second place, 14-11. Why don't you give us your picks?
Yeah, I got the 49ers. I think the -6.5 is enough to go ahead and win. Even in Tampa Bay, I just don't like the idea of going against the defense with the 49ers, like what they have without Evans and without Godwin. Even though Cade Otton, the tight end, has been doing phenomenal, and they've been leaning upon their running backs. And I think Baker Mayfield, he's leading the league in touchdowns with 23. I just don't think it's enough against the 49ers, especially with bringing McCaffrey back. So I like them. Yeah.
How much do you think McCaffrey plays today?
I think they limit him, but just the fact that he's out there gives a presence of, okay, this guy's a weapon either in the running game or in the passing game. So it changes the defense a little bit. So you really can't come in and try to attack Purdy like you want to, because this guy can take it anywhere, in a play action or whatever it may be, And so, and I still like him sharing the carries with Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason has done a phenomenal job, in his absence. But yeah, I like the 49ers to cover.
Okay.
I got the Bills versus the Colts. Again, another away game. I just think that the Bills, even without Keon Coleman, and did you say Amari Cooper, is he out for sure? Or
I didn't have him listed as out. So unless
he's questionable, I think.
Yeah,
he's questionable. But I think they should lean upon their run game and of course the MVP candidate in Josh Allen. And I like their defense. And I look for Dalton Kincaid, our fantasy guy, to step up as well. And Khalil Shakir also is still a really good wide receiver. So I just don't like the Colts defense as far as their run defense. So Cook should be able to cook in this game.
Right.
And -4 is enough to cover, I think.
You don't think that Buffalo's due for a loss? I mean, I think they're playing Kansas City next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that'd be a great game to consider. Now, this could be maybe a game they're overlooking to get to Kansas City. So it could be a game, that they're due for a loss, but I don't think so. Unless Jonathan Taylor just plays out of his mind and Flacco, hits. I mean, their receiving core is banged up, so yeah. I like Buffalo in this one.
Okay.
And then I got the Rams. I like the Rams. Look like they're having a bit of a resurgence. And what better team to do it at home than the Dolphins? The Dolphins may be having a opportunity to come back here, but I think coaching matters, and I like both coaches, but I like Sean McVay a lot better than the coach in Miami, and I think that Matthew Stafford and his crew.
Any news? I didn't have it on my.
Say it again.
I don't have it on my. I didn't have it on my definitely out list either, but I heard something about Kupp might be hurt. So I saw something like that. It wasn't out, Yes, I think he'll play because he's not out, and they definitely need to keep winning. So yeah, listen, I like the Rams running game. I don't think Miami has a good run defense. So I agree with you there. So
yeah, I think they can cover minus one or
solid three
two.
picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So Jack, who's out, he gave me his picks. He's 12, 13, and 2. He took the Jets, of course. He took the Jets at Arizona. We'll see what happens. He took Denver +9 at Kansas City. Kind of surprised me with that one. I mean, didn't we see this before when Denver went up against a real good team? Didn't they get their butts handed to them?
Baltimore, yeah. Baltimore took him to the woodshed. And I was surprised because I thought the defense was really – so it looks like the defense is going up against really bad teams and beating the brakes off of bad teams. But when they play good teams, they wet the bed, seems like.
Yes. And Jack agreed with you. No, wait a minute. He took the Los Angeles Chargers -8 versus Tennessee. I think from what they're saying, Tennessee, the Titans, may be playing – Mac Jones, not Mac Jones, Zach Wilson.
Wait, Zach Wilson?
Jaguars, my fault. Tennessee is playing Levis.
Yes, so Levis coming back.
Yes.
Oh, no wonder you took the Chargers. I mean, I got the Chargers winning. I got the Chargers winning the game, but man, I thought Mason Rudolph was going to play. I thought it'd be a low-scoring, close affair, but yeah, they might for that.
Levis is just going to kind of throw it over his shoulder to football and see if it'll be interesting to see if he can resolve that issue. So I'm next in line, and I know Sonja's going to come in or not. Maybe she won't because she's scared to come in. I mean, I don't blame her, but I wasn't gonna take the Giants as my top 3 pick. I think they're going to win by more than 6.5. But I saw something, James. I saw it.
In heaven there is no fear.
There's not.
That's why we drink it here.
Yes, we do.
And when we're gone from here, our friends will be drinking all the beer.
So if you saw the video out there, I don't know if you did or anything, but the Panthers owner decided that he would be participating at a pub with some former Panthers players, and he actually tapped he tapped the barrel, man. So he was out there partying, drink. I have never seen an owner in my life visit a pub and tap the barrels. So he was out there giving everybody beer. So I think he has a drinking problem, and I shouldn't say that. I might be able to get sued for that. But my opinion, from what I've seen, I should say, he likes throwing drinks at people. He's giving drinks out. He's partying. He's dancing. I mean, maybe he's just a good time guy. That could be it. But to me, you're 2-7, man. There's nothing to be celebrating right now. I mean, you're one of the worst teams in the league going against a Giant team that I think might beat him by more than one touchdown, James. My opinion.
Yeah, I got the Giants winning this game. And we were on the show, Sonja's show last Friday night, and the other co-host Kevin, we both picked the Giants, and she wasn't too happy about that. But yeah, it's just they're really not a good team, and obviously none of us have good team. We all have the same record right now. We allowed Carolina to come up and join us in the ranks of 2 wins, and so I just don't see the Giants losing that game, even if it is they're playing. Oh, they're playing. Yes, it's considered a home game for the Panthers, right? Yes, but still, again, I like the Giants in that game. There's just too much dysfunction going on. I guess it's a matter of who has more dysfunction. And as you stated, the owner hanging out, tapping in pubs, man. Yeah, that's not what you should be doing right now at this moment. I guess.
I have never seen that. I mean, I've been watching football for over 50 years, and I've never seen that. Couple other notes. One, Giants are undefeated overseas, so I have called Mara and I have suggested that they move the team to Europe somewhere, and tell everybody when the season starts, and maybe they'll continue their great run overseas. But second, Brian Burns This is a coming home party for him, right? I mean, they didn't want to give him the money. I wouldn't be surprised to see Brian Burns have a big game today, James.
Yeah, I mentioned this as possibly a revenge game for him. I mean, most players when they come up against their old team, they want to they want to let everybody know, hey, this is what you're missing. And I think
Right.
he wants to give it to them as well. And he has the opportunity. They have a horrendous offensive line, and the kid is I can't even think what the kid named the quarterback. He he's very sack friendly. Let's just put it that way. So Brian should have a field day for him.
We shall see. I also got Atlanta -3.5 at New Orleans. New Orleans is just too beat up. They're just too beat up. I don't think they could get Atlanta. Atlanta should win this. If Atlanta don't win this game, then my whole idea Atlanta goes out the window. The Rams, I also have -1 at Miami. Like I said before, I just think the running game, and not that Miami has a bad offense. It's just their defense is struggling still. It might have improved a little bit, but I don't think the Rams have got to win to stay in this race. Miami's they got to win too, but man, they got a long road to hoe. So those are my picks. Pags gives us Buffalo -4 at Indiana. Of course, he's taking the Philadelphia Eagles -7.5 at Dallas, and the Rams also. Listen, Dallas plays the Eagles tough. Dallas has a winning record against the NFC East. Dallas does not have Dak Prescott. They have Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush won some games for him last year. Mm-hmm. It's not the same Dallas team as it was last year, though, James.
No, and not only is it not the same team, look, you lose your quarterback. He's probably gone for the year. Cooper Rush, like you said, I mean, he's serviceable. I mean, he's in a position like Joe Flacco. So, I mean, you can come in and win a couple of games, and most of these rivalries play each other tough, even with injuries and terrible records. It's any given Sunday that somebody may win a game because you just want to beat that team that bad because it's just heated blood, amongst those two rivalries, amongst those teams. But that said, CeeDee Lamb, and he's banged up. He's got a banged up shoulder. I think he might, he's going to play, but I mean, he may be hurt. And then Micah Parsons is coming back. He's back, I believe. Right. And that should help them. But that defense has just really been bad. And Saquon Barkley is just on a tear right now. I just don't see that stopping. And I think that he's going to. They have one of the poorest run defenses right now. That's just an opportunity for him to just keep going and roll. I think they roll big in this game.
I think they do too. Here's Sonja's picks. She has Chicago -6 at New England. It's a brazen pick. I'm not sure if Chicago wins by 6, but I think New England keeps it within 6. But who knows? I mean, maybe Caleb Williams gets a little block and it goes off against the Patriots. She has KC, -9 at Denver. So she believes that we talked about that. Kansas City will be able to move the ball in Denver. And of course, she's picking the Panthers plus the 6.5 versus the Giants. So there you go, folks. That's all our picks. And hopefully Pags will be in. He'll be able to talk to us about his picks. I know he'll be live in Dallas if he comes in, which will be cool. But James, you're filling in for Jack today. And let me see if I can bring this question up for you here. Loosen up. You got to loosen up for this. So
that's right.
So here is the question. Who is the Pepsi? I don't know if Pepsi means anything or not, but that's what they call it. Rookie of the Year in 2013. I mean, calm down. I love that song. Anyway, we got to play the Jeopardy theme, of course, for everybody out there. If you don't cheat, we'll accept your answer. So who was Pepsi Rookie of the Year in 2013? Now, I'm going to give James some time to think about it because, of course, this is not an easy question. I think James may give us a good guess here, but we'll see if he can come up with it. So for right now, we'll do some commercials, folks, and we'll be right back soon. So stick with us, and let's see if I can start us off with our SeatGeek. Now let's do this one first. National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans NFL odds, week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Oh, absolutely. I was there when the ownership took last July when they took over, and they said it was going to take time, which it does take time. DQ has made a great impression as a head coach. He brought in his own staff. We just cleared house. And now if you're a free agent, if you don't play for us, we let you go. You're not here to make money. You're here to produce on the field. And that's what we didn't have under the Snyder era. We're 7-2. The last time we was at is 1996. You know what was special about 1996? That was the last year at RFK Stadium.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonja Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
There you go. There you go. That's where we are, folks. So go ahead and if you got Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports. You get 77 shows now. And if you don't, just download the free Roku app, and you can channel search on your laptop, tablet, or your mobile phone. So, James, I gave you some time to think this over. It's not an easy question by any means, but I think it's something that you might at least give a good guess to, if not win.
2013 is a tough year, man. That's like one of the the oddest numbers I've heard of. And I remember the Saints drafting Kenny Vaccaro out of Texas, and I know it's not him. He was playing really good defensively, and I know they give the award to both offensively and defensively. I just can't think of neither one. I don't know. Wow. If I had to give you a guess. Oh man! Oh wow! I was thinking about the back. That's a bad quarterback year too. So it's that first round wasn't all that great. I don't know. I just can't.
That's okay. I mean, like I said, this is because when Jack leaves, I give you the easy questions. But anyway, 2013, Keenan Allen.
Wow,
folks. So there you go. Now you know. So,
what round was he drafted in?
Keenan Allen. I would imagine he would have been at least a top 3-round pick, right? I would imagine.
I don't know. I don't think so. He might. I mean, maybe top 3, like you said. Yeah.
I don't know if he was the number 1 person, but I got a producer looking it up right now, just in case anybody else has that question. When was Keenan Allen drafted in 2013? So there you go. So, folks, this is where we start. I'm doing our picks against all the spreads, and if you got any picks, put them up there, and we will share them with everyone, and we'll try to we'll spend some time on the top 3 we picked, but we will spend most of the time on the picks that weren't made. The first one, of course, is 9:00 this morning. We both agreed Carolina will probably lose by the 6.5 points. Buffalo. I agree with you. The only thing I don't know about Buffalo, as I said before, James, is this a trap game? I mean, you could say the same thing about Kansas City, but Kansas City is so mature as a team, right? I mean, they're so experienced as a team. They add experience. I mean, they got rookies, but they add experience, and they know to play 1 week at a time. Josh Allen can throw interceptions when he's under pressure. I mean, he hasn't done it this year. This year he's playing off the charts. But the only thing I would worry about here is Buffalo looking forward to Kansas City. It's hard not to look ahead to the team that they're chasing right now.
Mac, there's always that possibility. Yeah, I mean, you can go into Indiana, Indianapolis, and play this team and be overlooking because you're looking at the team that you want to beat and that you've had struggles with in the playoffs. That pretty much they're your nemesis. If there had to be 2 teams in the playoffs that hit the AFC Championship, these are 2 possible teams that can be there against each other again. Like if you go back to when that 2021 divisional round playoff when Mahomes had 13 seconds left, Josh played out of his mind and they still lost in 13 seconds.
Yeah.
So I just think that like you said, Josh Allen is not turning the ball over. He's prime right now. That this is MVP season potentially, and I don't think the Colts have enough, and they can cover -4 at least with the win.
I would agree with you. Keenan Allen was drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah, wow, exactly.
So, I mean, listen, there's been good receivers drafted in the late rounds. It just hasn't started happening. It's happened for a long time. So, so let's go to Pittsburgh at Washington. We really haven't talked about this one. Pittsburgh's defense is awesome. It looks like Russell Wilson's playing really well again. They got a good running back. They got one good wide receiver. They just picked up another one from Dallas. Was it Smith or Williams? I'm trying to remember.
From the Jets. They got Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. There you go. So they picked him up. I don't know how fast he'll catch on and what kind of threat it'll be. Washington, just something about this team, man. I mean, Pittsburgh's coming in here. Washington run the ball. They got a good defense. They got a good quarterback, a very mobile quarterback. I think it all depends on what Pittsburgh can do against Washington, Jaden Daniels. Can they keep him in the pocket, not let him escape the pocket? No one's been able to do it yet.
Yeah. Look, let me tell you, I like TJ Watt. TJ Watt, he's really good against running quarterbacks. And I think that defense, this might be the game that Jaden Daniels has a bit of a struggle. But my key points right now is the other way around. I like the Steelers' run offense. They're number 8 against the 29th rush defense of Washington. There's an Achilles heel in their defense is stopping the run. And I think that's the key to winning this game is keeping Jaden Daniels off the field. Even if he does have the escapability, he can't escape anything if he's on the sidelines and you're running, 4 downs and 3 downs and getting first downs every play because you're going against a porous run defense. So I think with a guy like experience like Russell Wilson, you don't have to have him throw the ball as much as you need to. You don't need to if you're running the ball and there's no stopping it. Like we saw in LSU versus Alabama, they didn't really have to throw the ball at all when the quarterback's taking off, getting 184 yards in 4 TDs. Not saying they're going to do it in pros, but they should be able to have success.
I mean, you could say they haven't played. I don't know if they played another NFC North team this year or not. I don't think they have. Did they play Baltimore? They played Baltimore. That's who they played. And Baltimore got by him by a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but they slowed. You're talking about Pittsburgh, right?
No, I'm talking about Washington.
Washington, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
They got by Washington 27-20. I think Baltimore is a more potent team than Pittsburgh is. I'm kind of in between here. I think Washington will play physical against Pittsburgh. They did against the Bears. They played really well against Baltimore. I'm going to go opposite here. I'm going to take Washington to hold on and beat Pittsburgh. So you got Pitt. I got Washington. All right.
Yes, sir.
Atlanta -3.5 at New Orleans. Jim's, is there any way New Orleans can win this? I mean, realistically, not just a fumble and
No, I'm not going to be a homer here. That fell out the window early in the season after 3-game skid, and then now they're 7 games. It's about to be 8 today. It's just too much. The odds are too insurmountable. You just have no Chris Olave, no one of their guards is on IR. Both these guys are on IR. They put Chris Olave on IR, so he's probably not coming back for the season.
Wow.
Yeah, and so if there's one glimmer of chance or hope, you would think that they take a page out of Kansas City's book when they played Kansas City, and Kansas City didn't have really receivers, but they relied heavily on their tight ends and their running game. This is where the Saints' success still lies in right now. If they had to have any, they still have their tight ends. They got Taysom Hill, they got Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, and Alvin Kamara as their weapons. But man, if you don't get those first downs like you need them, you got an offense that could go on the side and light you up all day. And I think that's what's going to happen defensively. Against the Saints defense, because they've been porous as well. Now, there are some times when the coach can fire. If anybody can fire up a team and give them a spark, is Darren Rizzi, the special teams guy. He's kind of like either ilk or the cut from the same cloth as a Dan Campbell. They all come from that same Sean Payton tree. And so Darren Rizzi and Dan Campbell were both there at the same time in New Orleans. And no one had any respect for Dennis Allen, but they do have a lot of respect for Darren Rizzi. So if they can try to keep the game close and respectable, I think he'll do it. But I still don't see a chance at winning here.
Yeah, I heard some broadcasters saying that the players really like him a lot, and the fans like him. So sometimes teams, just for that, at least one day when you have an interim coach, play out of their mind. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think Atlanta wins it too. But I think New Orleans will give them a game. Denver +9 in Kansas City. I just mentioned that Baltimore beat the heck out of it, and you mentioned that Denver plays. His defense plays well against bad teams. If Denver had a better offense, I would give them a shot, because I know the Kansas City defense is going to pretty much bottle up the running game. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the young rookie quarterback. So Knicks, I think, is not going to have a great game. But if they had a better running game, better receivers, I might give Denver a shot to cover the spread. They got none of that. I mean, the Kansas City defense is stout. You've got a new receiver now that Mahomes can throw to. I mean, they got a good running game, and I'm not sure if their number one running back is back yet or not. I'm trying to remember his name. Can't remember off the top of my head.
Pacheco.
Yes, I don't know if he's playing today or not, but I know he's close, and that just gives them another weapon. I can't see Denver staying with Kansas City.
No, I have to agree with you. I don't. And to cover that 9, and I still can't believe Jack picked that pick. I just. Having more weapons, DeAndre Hopkins is back, and he seems to be improving each game. And I don't see why that stops here. He's going up against a good secondary, mind you. I think they have a really good secondary, but and that might be the key factor. If they don't have a good running game, maybe they can stop them. Maybe the Broncos can slow them down. That might be a deciding factor there, because Baltimore, when they ran against them, they had a great running game. That was a big deal. So that might be something to look at. Interesting, but I still agree with you though. I just think the Chiefs still continue to roll, and I don't even think the Broncos cover that. I just think that the Chiefs go 9-0 and cover the spread.
Philadelphia sports fans are a horde of inhuman monsters who deserve neither sympathy nor understanding.
I'm about ready to beat him down. Sometimes I seem to do that to some people. I bring it every play of every game, all day.
Good morning, Pags. Glad to have you on this morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad, man. We wanted to talk to you about your 3 picks. We were just going down some of the other picks today. But I definitely want to take a look at your picks. But first, I seen you in a couple of videos, Pags. I seen you with a new Eagles song. I know, Gangrene or Green Screen. It's not easy being green. I'm not sure what the video is called.
Bleed green.
Yeah. I know it was a video there, and I think you were bleed green. Yeah.
It was bleed green. So I
anyway,
actually have done a lot of acting. You know, there was a lot of actually film that I've been doing this week. It's been crazy.
That's awesome, man.
Interesting. I saw you with. Was it Trotter that you were with, Pags?
That is correct. I got to interview him last night. It was, a really great guy. Just got to talk to him. Initially, we started talking about his son and what it's like from going from his career and then watching his son go like through high school and college and then getting drafted by the Eagles and then seeing him out there on the field, same field he used to play on.
Right. That's pretty cool. All right. Anything else you want to divulge on your acting career, Pags? I mean, if you want to share it,
you just keep watching. You know, there's going to be a lot more coming out.
All right. Okay.
It's been one of those things where I've been blessed to get to be a part of a lot of different things. So I was filming a movie this week in Delaware. It's the first movie that's the first feature film filmed in Delaware since the Dead Poet Society.
Wow.
All right. Nice. All right, Pags. That's good news. I'm happy for you. So let's take a look at your 3 picks here. You got Buffalo -4 at Indianapolis. The only thing I could see that would stop this, Pags, and we discussed it, would maybe Buffalo be looking ahead to playing the Chiefs. I mean, could you see that happening?
I mean, I guess that's possible. I think Buffalo is. I just don't think Indianapolis has got the horses to be able to compete with Buffalo. Right now, they're rolling. Their offense is moving at a pretty good click. Even though the Colts' defense is, a little bit better, it's actually their defense has been carrying them. I just don't see them being able to stop Buffalo enough and then put enough points on the board.
I agree. Wide receiver Michael Pittman's out too. So I mean that's one of their weapons on offense, one of their main receivers. So it doesn't look good for the Colts. We both agree with you there. Philadelphia -7.5 at Dallas. I mean, you got Saquon. He's gonna run on a Dallas defense. There's no doubt. You got Cooper Rush, who is not a bad backup quarterback, maybe one of the better ones in the league. And you got the rivalry, Pags. Do you see Dallas having a shot at keeping it within that 7.5 points?
I mean, yes, it's a division game. It's Dallas versus it's the Cowboys versus the Eagles. So anything is possible. I just don't see. I think it's a 2 or 3 score game here. Like I think that I found out a little bit from last week that some of the play calling, although nothing was announced, some of the play calling was done to not embarrass Doug Peterson.
Okay.
That there may have been not, you try to just hold back the horses a little bit, so that it doesn't run it up. And some of the play calling, it's like so odd of the play calling last week for the Eagles that you're like, well, why aren't they doing this? And why aren't they doing this? And why aren't they doing this? Well, the only thing that makes sense is that they were protecting Doug Peterson a little bit, that they didn't want to embarrass him, and that they didn't want after the game for him to get fired, and they felt that it may have been that close. So if they showed that his team had some heart, that he'd stick around for at least another week.
Well, Pax, the whole team should have been embarrassed by that backwards jump by Saquon Barkley. Man, is he going to do cartwheels, moonwalk against Dallas? I mean, what's next?
You know what? It's we spoke about that yesterday with Jeremiah. He's like, that was the game that Shady McCoy got thrown into the Eagles Hall of Fame. And, as I say it that way, he just got thrown in there. But there was a lot of Hall of Fame Eagles on the field. And I'm not talking about Hall of Fame like in Football Hall of Fame, but the Eagles Hall of Fame. And they were all talking amongst themselves that they had never, amongst all of the football that had ever been played amongst them, we're talking like Harold Carmichael, Mike Quick, Shady McCoy, Brian Westbrook, Brian Dawkins, amongst all of the football that had been played amongst them, they had never seen anything like that. Yeah. So it's kind of special when you do something for the very first time ever in the NFL. And I can't say that there's, that it hasn't been done before, but we ain't ever seen it. What I mean? I guess Mac is, as Mac lowers his head a little bit on that, because obviously the Giants blew it, and it's just he's showing every week. Giants.
I know. Were you? What did you think about the NFL drug testing them after that game?
That's what they do. You do something great, you get drug tested. That's how that works. And that's they have to do that. That's the committee. It's like it's easy to figure out when. Hey, the guy who had 263 yards receptions, you know what happened? He got drug tested after the game. When a quarterback throws for 400 yards in a game, guess what? He gets drug tested afterwards. So this is what the NFL does. It's not it shouldn't be one of those things where it's like it's looked at negatively.
I don't know. The guy can friggin' squat 700 pounds or something ridiculous. Of course he can jump over you. I mean, that's ridiculous. But anyway, it made me more mad than you, Pags. Anyway, you got the Rams over Miami. Me and James both got that too. We're pretty comfortable with the Rams. The only thing is I don't know about Cooper Kupp. I don't know if he's starting or playing a lot. I know he got an injury. I heard something before I went on, so I really didn't have a chance to look at it. But even with Cooper Kupp out, if he is out, the Rams' running game against that Miami defense, and Stafford can throw to Hookah, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. It's just I feel like Miami, it's the second week back for Tua. They did score a lot of points last week, but they let up a lot of points as well. I don't see Miami putting up a lot of a fight. I think that there's more internal problems with Miami than anything else.
I agree.
And until they get that resolved, they're not going to be winning many games.
And there's some questions about the Cheetah too, with his injury there, how bad he's hurt, and how much he's going to play. So that'll affect him too. Can you stay, Pags? You gonna go? You good?
I'm good for a little bit.
Okay, so we stopped off on our picks about San Francisco minus 6.5 at Tampa Bay. San Francisco's getting healthy. Christian McCaffrey will make an appearance. We don't know how long he'll be on the field. Tampa Bay, of course, got the 2 hurt receivers, but Baker's playing really good. So it's 6.5 points, Pags, at Tampa Bay. What do you think?
That's going to be a tough one. I think that McCaffrey's a red herring. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he's not going to be used at all. He's a decoy right now. I kind of feel that Tampa Bay, even with their 2 receivers out, they got a really good tight end down there, and they have been getting really good at their timing. And San Francisco is weakest in their defense at the linebacker position. And I think that that's going to be one of those situations where the running game, Bucky, I think is their running back over there. I think that he's going to actually, get some yards on this defense, and they're going to be able to move the ball up and down the field, especially the way Baker's playing. I wouldn't be surprised at the upset, but I kind of feel that they're going to cover. The Bucs are going to cover that spread.
Okay, that's fair. And James, I think you think San Fran is going to win this by the spread. I'm with you there. New England, this is an interesting game too, Pags. It's at Chicago. Chicago's having a lot of problems blocking for Caleb Williams, and there looks like there's some problems working there in that locker room too. New England, Drake May, 3rd drafted. Caleb Williams, number 1 drafted. I mean, can you see New England maybe at least covering or maybe upsetting Chicago?
And there was an interesting thing that I heard this week, and I'm not sure where I heard it, that history is repeating itself in Chicago, and what that is that you had a quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, and you had a head coach with him. You fired the head coach, and you brought in a new head coach and offensive coordinator in his second year. So he had 2 coaches and 2 coordinators in 2 years. And then you got another quarterback, Jason Fields, and he got drafted by one coach. That year, the coach gets fired. Next year, then he gets a new coach, new offensive coordinator. This year, now you got Caleb Williams. And we suspect that Eberflus is going to be fired, and next year Caleb Williams is going to have a new coach, a new offensive coordinator. And when you do this to a rookie quarterback, it just sets that rookie quarterback back a couple of years, and they're going to do the same thing over again. I kind of feel that when an organization continually makes the same mistakes over and over again, they start to create their own history, and they get to watch it unfold. And I think that's what we're watching now. We're watching the eventual firing of Eberflus and them bringing in a new offensive coordinator and coach who is maybe more, maybe they go to their quarterback and say, who do you want? And that's when your quarterback is now running the franchise rather than you running the franchise. And I think that that's just a mess.
And to piggyback what you're saying, Pags, then they hire a GM who didn't draft that quarterback. They end up firing the coach, and now the GM is sitting there. Well, I didn't draft him, and then they hire another coach. It's just crazy over there what they're doing right now. And if you look at the numbers of Justin Fields last year and Caleb Williams this year, they're almost exactly the same. That's kind of scary. So.
Yeah, and I feel like it's over and over again.
Yeah. You got Tennessee +8 at the Chargers. Tennessee is bringing in who are they bringing in again? Are they bringing Levis back? Is that who they're bringing back, James?
I think so. Yeah,
they're bringing Levis back. They're starting Levis. They want to give away some more pick sixes. They're feeling in the Christmas mood right now, Pags. Everybody can have a pick six. So I don't know. The Chargers should win this, Pags, right?
They should. It's like when you say that name, it's like I think of the old commercial in Philadelphia. You'll love it at Levitt's.
That's true.
You know what? Even Tennessee is going to win some games. I wouldn't be surprised to have them just sort of rally behind for a certain game. And this just seems like one of those games where they could just kind of, Los Angeles could be sleeping on them.
Possible. It is possible. It is a big spread. It is 8 points. So even if they don't win, I mean, that's over a touchdown that the Chargers have to to cover there. I'm impressed though, Pags. Herbert's starting to look more like Herbert again. He's starting to throw the ball better. He had a couple touchdowns, or 3 touchdowns last week, 2 touchdowns a week before, something like that. He's starting to progress again. So I'm liking that about him right now.
You know what? I guess the coach is finally starting to rub off on him a little bit. He's starting to really listen to what the coach has got to say and buy into the system. And this is the time where you have to start to really mold your team and figure out what your real identity is so that you can start going to the latter half of the season and go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so for them to start to click like this isn't a surprise. I mean, because I think that he's that good of a coach. It's whether they, it's whether they can actually get over the hump and actually make it into the playoffs and do something in the playoffs. It's going to be the bigger deal here.
I think it may be a little tough this year for them to do that, but I agree that the coach is the main reason, and the system. The continued success at Stanford, with the 49ers, Michigan, it's just hard to really overlook. And I think they're going to be good in the long run, but it's going to take a little time.
Yeah, it's first year. I mean, I agree with that. So we already talked about Philly and Dallas. What do you think about Dak? I mean, he may be out for the year. He's going to see a second opinion. If the second opinion isn't better than what he's got, he may have an operation done and it ends the season for Dallas.
I suspect that the season is over for him. It's like why come back this year? Like that's start the rest up. You got paid. You ain't doing nothing this year. Find out what you got with Cooper Rush and trade him. You know what I mean? I think that if I was Dallas Cowboys, I want to shelf Zach. I mean, what are we doing this year? It's like you're already looking like a hot mess in general. You have players that are fighting with reporters and stuff like that. The dumpster fire is raging. So let it flame out. That's kind of how I feel. Like it's just at this point, let this year be a waste. You're going to come back with new coaches anyways next year. I can't see you bringing back McCarthy and Zimmer and stuff like that. I think it's too much of a mess. I kind of feel like Andy Reid had his coaching staff in 2012 where they just stunk, but you had all of these Hall of Fame coaches. I feel like that there's too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And they are starting to, just collide with each other and just make it a mess. So I would shelf them. You know what I mean? I don't think CeeDee Lamb's going to play today. I hear Micah Parsons might play only because I think he wants to maybe show off a little bit for the Eagles and do a like, hey, I'm going to be available next year. You might want me.
But about Dallas, I just think they need to get younger with the coaching. Almost everybody who's having success now, they have young coaches. I'm not nothing against Mike McCarthy or Zimmer, man. Or defensively, but it's just us chaos there. But I don't know if Jerry Jones is going to do that. He's probably going to stick with how he runs things and get somebody that he likes. But they need to go with somebody young. They need young coaching.
I don't know. Andy Reid and the Baltimore head coach are pretty good. They're all right. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I think you need to get the right coach for the time your team is in. I mean, there are always questions Sirianni there for the Eagles, but they're still winning. I mean, if something happens, I think to the Eagles later on, maybe the playoffs. If they hit a roadblock, something happens there, then maybe that discussion's open again. But right now, I don't think that discussion is open right now. So, and unless something happens. So I think it's the right coach for the right situation. And I think that's where the mistakes are made. Anyway, we have the Jets at Arizona. The Jets got to travel down to Arizona, and they're favored, believe it or not, by 1. Pags. That talk about a team that is all crazy down there. I don't know who's running it, who's not running it. They say Aaron Rodgers is, and if he is, he's not running the defense. That's for sure. I don't know what to make of this game. I think Arizona beats them. That's plain and simple.
I disagree. I actually disagree. I think that Rodgers did the relax conversation 2 weeks ago, and he's now running the team, the way that he wants to. That everybody else is out of the way. I think he's playing offensive coordinator a little bit too. And it might be because he's got what's his face in his ear. You know what I mean? I'm sure that there's still things happening and such. But I think that this is a game that he's going to just win. I think that he will outdo Kyler Murray. It's like Kyler Murray was on a nice little run for a little while, and then it looks like he didn't read the playbook, and he had his mistakes. If he's in that part of his season where he's like, oh, I forgot to read the playbook, I forgot to do any studying. Well, I think that's when you start losing games, and I think that that's going to happen. Their defense, though, is actually pretty good in Arizona. Gannon, that he has been able to change that team around in that regard. I just don't think. I think Aaron Rodgers wins this game, and it's by like 3 points. It's not. It's going to be close, but
yeah, I like Arizona's running game big time in this 2 pags. I think I'm not a big fan of Kyle Murray either. But he can run with the ball, and he's got a couple good running backs behind him there. Their offensive line's pretty good. The Jets' defense is slowly starting to get worse, if that's possible. I mean, they have been, they're sure not as good as they were last year, and they're falling in the rankings now. That's the way I'm picking Arizona. I just think that they'll run the ball on the Jets. But I agree with you. It is going to be a close game no matter what. Detroit, minus 3.5 against Houston. A lot of people are split here. I like Detroit Pags. I just think they're just a great team. Houston's getting back their number one receiver this week. CJ Stroud is definitely having a sophomore slump. But it should be a good game. I'm just taking Detroit because I think they're just a better team.
That line's weird. I don't know why it's so small. And that's what is confusing about this line. Like, what is it that Vegas sees that we don't see? Houston is a good team. I think that they'll be up for this. This is going to be like a really good test for them. So I think that they are going to take this as more like a playoff game than anything else, at least from their side. And that's the only thing I can think of that would justify the 3.5-point spread, because otherwise I would think that Detroit would run away with this game. But there's something about that. I think that hook's going to get a lot of people today.
This is my upset special here. I just think that Houston, the Lions are flying on all cylinders offensively, and they're getting Jameson Williams back. I mean, who takes the top off the defense? He's averaging 21 yards a catch. I mean, he's outstanding this year. But with that said, the Nico Collins, like Max said, is likely to come back today. I'm not sure, and their run game is great. But I like the pass. I like C.J. Stroud to bounce back a little bit against a very porous pass defense in the Lions. If they have to have a weakness, it's their pass defense, and so I like Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and some of these guys to have a really good game. And I think it's going to be close, but I think that Houston's going to pull it off. And Houston has a very good defense. They have the number 2 defense overall against the number 7 offense in the Lions. And I think if you can get up the middle, this is one thing weakness about Jared Goff. He gets rattled if you get pressure in his face. And I think that's going to happen in this game. And I like them at home.
I think it'll be one of the best games of the week. That's for sure. I think this is going to be one worth watching. Minnesota -7 at Jacksonville. Pags. Trevor Lawrence may not play today. It looks like they might start Zach Wilson.
The return of Zach. I there could be a rally around that. Like it's I don't know. I think
No,
Jacksonville's
that's
gonna
sorry, y'all.
pass.
That's Mac Jones. Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones. Mac
Yes,
Jones.
yes.
Sorry, Mac Jones. Better? I don't know, but Mac Jones. There you go.
No, that's I was thinking the quarterback that was from the Jets is who I
Yeah,
thought it
me
was.
too. Me too.
Yeah,
Uh,
he went to Denver. He went to Denver.
Yes.
God, yeah. So, Mac Jones, forget it.
Okay. All right. I thought it was Zach Wilson too. All right. Well, okay. So if it's Mac Jones, no, Zach. I think Zach Wilson is a better athlete than Mac Jones, to be honest.
I that's why I'm saying I think that they could rally around him. Mac Jones, they ain't rallying around.
Nah, I don't think so. And of course, we already covered Miami and the Rams. So I'm going to go to NFL news. If you need to leave, let me know, Pags. I'll let you cut out if you want to go over some NFL news.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got about another 5-10 minutes.
All right. So talking about the game with Baltimore and Cincinnati last week, Pags. There's a big question of what happened at the end of the game there. All right. Not only did a lot of people question whether to go for the 2-point conversion, just kick the field goal and go to overtime, but there was a lot of grabbing, hits to the face mask, maybe interference, holding by Baltimore on that last play. And I have a theory, Pags. I think that the NFL referees have been told if it's at the end of the game or maybe at the end of the half, you don't call penalties, you let them play. That's what I think has happened. That's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah, the problem is you got to be consistent about it, and they're still inconsistent about that too. You know what I mean? So it's like it's what is it can be done. I think it's time that they do the egregious replay. Like, hey, listen, there was an egregious call missed. If they're supposed to be protecting the heads of quarterbacks and everything else. Was it an intentional hit to the head? Yeah, it was. I mean, you saw that. He smacked the face mask. You're not supposed to be hitting the head. He's supposed to be hitting the shoulder pad or something like that. So that should have been called. It wasn't there. The holding in that's all within 2 yards. So they're just hand checking a lot and stuff like that. You're going to get away with a little bit more from that. You're not allowing anybody to get their breaks or whatever by just kind of holding on to them and stuff. So, I mean, they've been doing a lot less calling on that. The hand checking has been a real thing. And unless you do something specific where you're pushing off to get the ball or anything, they're calling it. And there's been a lot more offensive pass interference as well this year in comparison to previous years. Listen, Cincinnati had a lot of other opportunities, and all they had to do was just stop Baltimore, one time. Reason why they went for 2 is because they couldn't stop Baltimore. They didn't want to just, all right, well, if we lose the coin toss, that's it. We lost the game. And I think that there was a part of them that thought that said, hey, we're here. We might as well give this a shot. Unfortunately,
that's
it might dictate the rest of the season for them.
Well, that's true. Baltimore couldn't stop Cincinnati either. So if Cincinnati gets the ball, that could be the end of the game too. I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to be critical of the guy. I get it. You're away, you go for the win. But there's going to be questions. Hey, listen, if they did tie it, if Cincinnati gets the coin toss, maybe they win the game.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You can look at it a number of different ways, but
yes,
I can't say one way or another. I think that you are there. You're at the 2. You're cheering for the 2-point conversion. If you can't make 2 yards into the end zone, you don't deserve to win. And if that's the way that they're calling the game, because you saw them calling the game like that all game long, to cry about one play not having the calls being made. There was lots of plays in that game where the calls weren't made.
It's true. It's true. That's very true. Sonja decided to join us at 9:30, 9:40. Sonja?
Listen here. Listen, guys. I was supposed to be on my way somewhere, and I just got an indication from my flat tire, so I'm going back to the house, and I'll just be with you guys the regular way. Like
All
I
right.
don't know what's going on.
I see, and I'm not sure about this because it looks like she broke into my apartment.
Yes, she did again.
I don't know what's going on. Why my front tires got like 25 air pressure. But good morning, guys.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. So do you got to go? Or
Is it a
can you
little
stay
bit cool out there today?
No. I literally just left my house, so I'm just backing back into my driveway so that AAA can do this later on. I'm gonna
All
back
right.
in so they can get to the front tire, and I'm about to go on in and log on in with you guys. I'm
All right,
staying on,
Sonja.
so just hang tight. I'm here.
Okay. All right. So anyway, there's Sonja backing up. I didn't know your living room came with a steering wheel bags. That's weird. I've never seen that.
But it does. It's the best.
That's Bags' home. We talked about Dallas and Dak Prescott. You know, he's probably gonna end up getting the surgery. I would think. CeeDee Lamb show. I mean. Let's see. Am I echoing now? No. I muted you real quick, Sonja, because I'm echoing. Should they play? Should they allow CeeDee Lamb to play? Both got multi-million-dollar contracts, Pags, and it seems like everybody that gets multi-million-dollar contracts ends up getting hurt.
Yeah, and they don't have any money for anybody else. They couldn't afford to play Derrick Henry. Now he's over the hill. You know, he's nothing. He's not anything anymore. You know, I love the fact that the NFC East in total are getting chastised for their decisions at running back. Both the Cowboys and the Giants are living their demise out right now.
Yeah, well, we wanted Dallas to feel all alone there, so or Dallas didn't want us to feel all alone. Whatever, it worked out. 9 NFL teams with only two wins, Pags. I mean, we say we're going to have parity, we're going to have this, all teams are going to be. That's not the case this year. I mean, it's really been weird. I think this is the first time in, I don't know, I forget how many years it's been, but a long time that we've had 9 teams at this point in the season with only 2 wins.
It really is a season of the have or have not. It's where it's like when you have a third of the entire league, or really like a full quarter of the entire league has only got 2 wins, and it's like if you look at those wins, they're against each other. That's where they got those 2 wins against each other. And the other teams are just doing so much better. I also kind of think that if you look at it, it's very the NFC side has got a lot more wins. The NFC's been beating the AFC a lot this year. And I think that that's some of the things that you're seeing as well. Because the AFC, I think there's only 7 teams that have an above 500 record. Everybody else is at least 500 or below. And then on the other side, it's a little different where I think there's maybe 9 teams in the NFC that have above 500 records, and everybody else is 9 or 10 teams above 500. So it is a have or have not situation. And if you're part of the have nots, there's going to be a lot of job opportunities, I think.
Well, Pax, you're the only one that's part of the haves because 3 of us on this panel are the have-nots right now, and it's very little middle class in the NFL.
We did have.
Are you guys ready to get out the pitchforks for David Carr yet?
Look, we need to get rid of him, man. He's a part of Dennis Allen, so half of that is going right now. That team, I suggest. I mean, I'm thinking they're probably going to trade him next year. I don't know. It depends on what coach comes in. They'd like to get Ben Johnson or somebody like that, offensive coach, younger, more innovative offensive coach, because that seems to be where the league's going right now. But we'll see, because everybody's going to be trying to get Ben Johnson as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, there is a hit list. We already had 2 coaches fired so far. I mean, I don't think any other coach will be fired before the year's out. I don't think so, unless it's something really crazy. But what do you guys have for your next 3 coaches to be fired? Who would be your top 3?
Eberflus, I have then Doug Peterson and I'm trying to think of who would be on that list who just stinks.
Antonio Pierce.
Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Antonio
one of
may be
those
gone
names.
before the season's over.
That's true.
It's possible. It's possible.
I
Definitely
think
possible.
it's possible Mike McCarthy, if this is a bad enough beatdown today, if the Eagles do what I think they could do, and it could be like a college football game where we score into the 50s, like 52 points or 54 points or something like that, you could see Mike McCarthy fired today and Zimmer take over for the rest of the season. And I think that would be done not just to save face with McCarthy, actually, that he's been a better coach than that, and he doesn't deserve to be the leader of this toilet flush.
Yes, yes. And while
I think
we're
that's what they wanted anyway.
while we're talking, Brian Burns, a former Panther, has just sacked Bryce Young. I know he's going to have a big game.
Oh,
I know
my
he's
God.
going to have a big game.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it beforehand. This is coming home. This is coming home to sack Bryce Young. You know,
I'll be right back, guys.
Talking about a toilet bowl.
I'll be right back. Seriously, I'm gonna log in on my other account. You guys suck.
Okay, go right ahead. So I think my head coach, if he doesn't, he has Carolina right now that the Giants should beat. I don't care what anybody says. They should beat Carolina. They play the Saints. We're all banged up and screwed up. They should beat the Saints. And I'll tell you, I don't know if 4 wins is good enough for DeBall or Dable or whatever you want to call him to keep his job. I think he may be done at the end of the year.
Hey, you win 2 in a row. All of a sudden, you guys are talking playoffs.
We are. Who's talking playoffs bags?
Oh my goodness!
If they didn't make 6 and 10, I didn't think Dable would last after this year. They're not. I don't think they're hitting 6 and 10. So even for 4 wins, I don't see it. So we'll see.
I'm not sure that that's Dable's fault. And I believe that they really should not try to change that. I think that Dable's been a good influence there. I think that they've made really poor decisions in upper management. And they're paying the price. They are paying the price on not having Barkley.
Oh, that's that's only one of the problems. One of the bad decisions they made. Not drafting.
You took the head of the snake away. And now the snake is just flopping around, and then it doesn't have a head right now. You got nobody. You got no leadership on that team whatsoever. And I think that that's not Dable's fault. I think the GM put him in a position to fail. I think he's a good coach, and I think he's going to show he's a much better coach somewhere else. That would be another mistake that the Giants make.
Maybe.
But they're good at making mistakes.
They made a huge mistake not drafting a quarterback last year, not drafting Penix Jr. or not drafting, they weren't going to get Jaden Daniels. They weren't going to get Drake May. But they had a shot at getting at least Penix Jr. And who knows if they get J.J. McCarthy, maybe he doesn't get hurt. I don't know. But they definitely should have got a quarterback last year. And I said it in the beginning. I'm not changing my opinion now. But
at this point in the season, I have to agree with you, Mac, because this is a draft of quarterbacks that seems to be much better to choose from next year, and probably the following year won't be that great. So
I don't think so. I don't think so. But anyway, so the Giants have gotten the ball. They're like 2nd and 10 in Carolina territory right now.
I need to be turning the game on because I think you watching it by yourself is just really bad.
Well, I don't want you to leave the show again. So you're probably better off not watching, Sonja. If
oh wow, you cocky much this early, Mac? Wow,
yes.
you sound like Kevin from the Falcons. You know what happens to guys after a while.
So this weekend, you got Caleb Williams and Drake May, two of the top 3 draft choices playing. Caleb comes up on the short end against Jaden Daniels last week off that, of course, the Hail Mary. What do you think, Pags? I mean, I know we talked about Drake May versus Patriots. Maybe there's a chance they win, and we talked about how bad the quarterback. The quarterback trying to get quarterbacks to play well, to manage them, to teach them the game, everything that you would want to do with a rookie quarterback. Chicago hasn't done at least a lot. Well, Christ, they haven't had a good quarterback almost in their history. How about the way they're handling though, Jaden Daniels? Who is working with him? What kind of grade are you giving him? I mean, it's his first year, and it looks like he's getting better every week.
You know what? Sometimes you just gel really well with the team that you're put on. And, that's you have a rookie coach, rookie quarterback, the whole new rookie ownership, really, in the grand scheme of things in Washington. And I think that you got everything gelling right now. This week, they play Pittsburgh. That's going to be a really good test. And then they back it up on Thursday night with playing the Eagles. Yeah. So if you want to have a litmus test, you're going to find out in the next 5 days exactly what Washington is all about. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see how they perform against real defenses. And not that Washington's played against poor defenses, but they have. I mean, the wins that they've had have not been super, super quality wins, especially when you need a Hail Mary to beat a Chicago team that was very beatable. So
yeah, but
I kind of feel
Chicago's defense is good though, Pags. You got to give them that. They're not a scrub defense. I mean, they turn the ball over. They play tough. That's a tough defense he went up against. And not that he played great against that defense. I agree with you. But he did do what he had to do to win that game. Sometimes, we like to match him up against teams. For instance, the Giants are still a top 5 team. They're second in the league in sacks. And Washington got by them twice. So, I mean, I
Did you
get
say the Giants are a top 5 team?
Right?
Yeah, top 5 defensive team. They're number 2 in sacks.
Defense. Defensive team. Yeah, because their offensive team is the bottom 5.
Exactly.
Right.
Straighten him out, man. That's right. He's getting cocky over here.
But to my point, Pags, Washington beat them both times they played them against a very formidable defense. So it's not like Washington's been playing a bunch of scrub defenses.
Hey, listen, hold on. When the Eagles played the Giants, we scored 4 touchdowns, and we took our third string and fourth string and put that in there for the fourth quarter, so we didn't run the score up on you guys.
Well,
yeah, that defense is great.
Yeah, what can I tell you? I mean, you can't be perfect all the time, and the Giants aren't perfect at all. So, you're not telling me nothing new. But anyway, I like the way they're doing with Jaden Daniels and the rookie Drake May. I also like what they're doing with him. They're bringing they brought him in probably faster than they wanted to, but he definitely gives the Patriots, to me, the best chance to win because of his athleticism compared to Brissett. And I think he's going to be a real good quarterback next year. I really do.
Again, situation, rookie coach, rookie quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised to see that start to gel a little bit better. It's you have nowhere to go but up in New England, so I kind of feel that's what's happening now. It's like they're going to start to win some games, and it's going to be a couple of years before they get back, maybe into the playoffs or what have you. But they're going to. They just need more. The trend in the right direction.
They need more talent around them, pretty much. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, but listen, guys, I got to get going. I got to start to make the transformation into the Philly sports guys.
Go Eagles!
All right,
as always, go Birds.
Have a good one, buddy.
Take care, guys.
You too.
There you go.
So,
anyway, I'm pretty much out of material. James, we do this every Sunday. I mean, we could run this game out with Carolina against the Giants. And, of course, I would love to do this, especially with Sonja on TV with us right now. So there we go. There you go. Bryce Young completes the pass. Right now, they were past the 30. He gets his first pass completion, and the Giants squandered their drive Who's number 17, Sonja, on your team?
That is Sanders.
Sanders? Sanders
Yeah.
is wide open.
I just turned the game on. I'm about to, because you have given us enough bad luck.
Right?
I was like, let me go in another room so I can watch this game, because ain't nothing like no giant watching it and he's jacking us up.
And that like Trevor Hubbard running down the field on us right now. Number 30.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, we doing it, and he just got that nice contract.
There you go. You got a little smoke going on here. There's nothing wrong with
we
that.
got a little first and 10 on y'all.
Yeah, there you go.
And for the audience that doesn't know, Germany is my home. Like, I'm not from there, but my mom is. So I got family, I got aunts and first cousins that are watching right now in Germany. So we definitely gonna pull this out.
Yeah, we talked about your owner tapping kegs over there and partying. I've never seen an owner do that before. I mean,
that's what we do.
So you like your owner?
I mean, last year he's tossing drinks. We just have to roll with whatever's happening, because clearly we have no control. So we just go ahead and say, okay,
Yes, I get it. And yeah, I agree with that, Facebook user. You are a quarterback away from being a contender.
Thank you, Facebook user, whoever this is. I did a bunch of shares before I jumped on, Max. So it's a lot of watchers.
All right, cool. That's good. So Bryce Young is having a good game. Well, yeah, he threw a nice pass there. I mean, that's pretty good. So right now it's second. There you go, over the middle. Almost got the first down. So he's using number 17 a lot. That's
17. Sanders really had a blowout game last game against the Saints, and that's when he really kind of came to fruition. 17 used to be Moten. It's another player we had. That's why I was like, who is 17? So they've used that number a lot.
It's Leggetti. That's who's number
17. Yes.
Yeah, there you
Leggett. My apologies. I'm thinking about Sanders for.
So we got Anthony G-Man out here. And there Trevor gets the first down and down the sideline. And look at that. You're down first and goal now, son. You got a shot to punch it in here.
I know. I gotta try to get this.
You're not that good at watch along, Sonja. I mean, James and me have it rolling. I mean, we'd be talking about.
Excuse me, I'm in Atlanta and James ain't got it rolling. He's just listening to what you're saying. Let's be clear. They're not showing that game in Atlanta. That's how they do us. Don't worry, I got the game rolling. Don't you worry.
James is trying to give you a chance here. I know you.
Get it.
What happened? You got to stop. Hey.
Oh.
What we're going to do is we're going to cut out early because we got Sonja coming on an NFL download tonight. I don't want to spoil that. And she'll be on and we'll talk about, the Panthers almost beating the Giants again. I mean, it will be an exciting.
Or I'll be passing out clinics to the host here, Mac, letting him know I tried to tell you once again.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. All right. So you folks, you have a great day. Enjoy the Sunday games. And as always, I hope your team wins.